My name is Amira Hayat, and I'm a journalism and media student doing my master's. The News for All sessions were like a massive conversation over a few months to understand what could be done for the media to cater towards a much larger audience. I was a co-facilitator, so Rhiannon and I facilitated these sessions. With that role, we followed the design justice principles, which is basically marginalized communities leading a project that's about marginalized communities. And that was really important to be able to connect with the participants and not make it feel like it was an investigation into them. People had some really strong opinions about how they feel towards the media.
I avoid news in general. One, because I don't think it's particularly healthy. I'm not represented. I'm not part of the story. I am the story, but not in a positive way, in a negative way. Would you sit through something that is dehumanizing you, not representing you correctly, misrepresenting you? You wouldn't. You would disengage from it, and it's simple.
Whether we like it or not, media is representation and it perpetuates stereotypes. I went to a predominantly white school, and I just remember that any time there was something going on regarding a person of color or a Muslim or terrorism or anything like that, people would just look at me funny.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's failed. Like 100%. Same as politics has failed. Like, it's exactly the same. All of our systems are failing. And that does affect me and everybody.
We met up once a month. We would kind of reflect on what had happened in the past month. And a lot of us felt like there was a lot of context that was missing from certain stories in the news. Marginalized communities feel that we're very alienated and we're always made to be the other in the news. When we're talking about certain communities, do the people who are reporting on those communities understand what they're talking about and who they're talking about? Are they well integrated enough?
Not every community is the same, and not every community's needs are the same, even from the news, So there's loads of different communities all over the country, and we need to tell each community's stories, and we need to do it at a local level. So local reporting, local stories. And I think that's how you engage the community. A community which is really, in my opinion, switched off and said, not for me, because I'm not represented. And there's dangers to that. And those dangers are, people are getting their news from all over the world, and not all of those sources are necessarily reliable.
The participants in the project were people who are quite active in the local community. So some of them are sports coaches, some of them have worked in teaching before, some of them have worked in the mental health sector, some of them were students as well. So everyone is coming from an angle of learning, but also bringing a skill that's unique to them to the project. I think journalism plays a really big role in the shaping of those ideas around people. Like, the stereotypes are there, but I think journalism and the media in general have created those images and also really, really amplified them. Like, Islamophobia is just one example, but they do the same with the LGBT community, and they do the same with the Black community.
I think society in itself is not racist, it's not Islamophobic, it's not anti-Semitic. I think journalism over a number of years has only reported negative stories about people who are immigrants and have driven people to mistrust and dislike their neighbours.
My experience as a Muslim, Islamophobia has played a massive, massive role in my life. Like, I have been racially abused in the street, and I have had people call me names and things like that, purely based off of what they have taken from the media. Like, I've been called a letterbox and I don't even cover my face. I don't wear a niqab, but it just shows that this is what someone's heard from a politician in the news, and now they've just taken one bit from that and used it on me, but not even correctly. So there's no connection there, but they've made a connection. So I feel like that's enough understanding for me to think, yeah, journalism plays a big role in that shaping. The News for All sessions were also really, I'd say, quite unique. And that was because obviously with the involvement of the BBC and with everything that's happened and the way a lot of marginalised communities feel towards not just BBC, but a lot of mainstream media outlets, they feel a lot of hostility towards them. And that was expressed many times in pretty much every session. It was like, sorry to say, but this is how I feel, blah, blah, blah. And it was really important that they were able to freely express that and that they were comfortable enough to say that, because it was really important for the BBC to learn its position in our lives. Not everyone wants to engage in that kind of news and are really looking for other ways to get their information, to become independent.
What I need from the BBC News is factual reporting. Let's talk about anti-immigration. Like, that's a big narrative, isn't it? And the language used around asylum seekers and migrants is terrible. That's an agenda of division as far as I'm concerned. People can see through it, and if people are intelligent, there is the internet now. Everybody can see what is happening. Everything is live streamed, everything is reported on by people who are actually there.
I'm Tatar, which is a nationality, ethnicity that doesn't have a country. There are some Tatars in Uzbekistan, there are some Tatars in Finland, there are some Tatars in Russia, coming from countries that are not known for free speech. I've had a very idealistic idea of the UK and of the media in the UK. So once I saw the invitation to join News for All, I thought, wow, from this day onwards, we're changing everything. All the little problems that are in the BBC, the group of people that they're recruiting from Wales, like social workers, students, everybody, researchers, directors, we're all going to change it like right now, in a minute. I was really hopeful about it. But once you go in and you see some resistance that there is to change, you understand that it is going to take a long time.
We came up with the idea of journalists in residence, so the journalists would kind of go to these communities and spend more time to get to know the community, really build relationships, so that when they report the stories that they have to report, they're more truthful and they come from a space of honesty instead of just reporting from an outsider's point of view. Another solution that we thought about was kind of verifying with the people that we're talking about before necessarily reporting things that don't represent us well. We also thought about monthly forums. So in our case, this would be a collaboration between the Great Pavilion and, for example, BBC News. We would come together and storytell, share our ideas a couple times a year, just so that there is that connect, so it doesn't feel like such a divide between the news outlets and the communities. You know, we can mix it together, make them connected. I think that would really help with representing these communities.
We have a habit of seeing these outlets tell stories for us, as they've done for so long. It's really important that we've been able to kind of talk about how actually, no, we know that you guys have the power to do that, but that doesn't mean we're giving you that power. We're actually trying to reclaim that space and that power for ourselves. And I think what was really inspiring about these sessions is that people are really they're looking for a way to become independent and to be able to tell stories by themselves. It was really, really important to have that space to learn that it's not just me who thought that, because I thought that for a long time, but that lots of people in the community are looking for a way to change what's happening. And there's a lot of hope even in this project. Lots of people were like, well, we want to know what happens next. We don't want this project to just end and we don't hear from you guys. We want next steps. So I think it's really important to see that determination and motivation in the community is great.